Picture this. It's championship point. The crowd is dead silent. You've got two athletes, both at the absolute peak of their physical powers, just staring each other down. One is about to uncork a monster serve. The other is ready to hit a blistering return. They've both got the power, they've both got the speed, and the technique is flawless. So, what's going to make the difference?
We always think it's got to be a stronger serve or a faster forehand, maybe just being able to outlast the other person. But what if the real weapon, the thing that separates the legends from the merely great, isn't in their arm or their legs at all? That's right, the ultimate edge is all in the mind. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on a mental superpower that really defines tennis champions. It's called cognitive flexibility.
To really get why the brain is so important here, you have to appreciate just how unique tennis is. This isn't just about hitting a ball back and forth. It's more like playing chess at 100 miles per hour.
Just look at the difference. A sport like swimming, that's what we call a closed skill sport. The environment is totally predictable. It's just you, your lane, and the clock. You're basically running a pre-planned program. But tennis, it's the complete opposite. It's an open skill sport. The world is constantly changing because you've got a clever opponent on the other side of the net trying to mess you up. You can't just stick to a script. You have to react, adapt, and improvise, literally second by second.
So how on earth does a player manage all that chaos? Well, they use a secret weapon, one that fires way faster than any muscle in their body.
And here it is, cognitive flexibility. To put it simply, it's about being mentally agile. Think of it like your brain has a gearbox. It's the ability to just pivot, to completely abandon one plan and shift to another in an instant, all while you're juggling tons of information. This is the engine that drives adaptation.
And this agility really breaks down into three key parts. First, you've got shifting. That's changing your whole game plan on the fly. Like, you're in a long rally, hitting deep defensive shots, and then bam, you decide to hit a surprise drop shot. Then there's updating. Your brain is constantly refreshing its picture of the match. You notice your opponent is getting tired, maybe protecting their backhand a little, so you update your strategy and start targeting it. And finally, inhibiting. This one's huge. It's the mental discipline to stop yourself from going for that flashy, low-percentage winner and instead play the smarter shot that actually wins you the point.
So, that's the concept. But how does this mental superpower actually turn into a physical weapon on the court? How does it all happen in that tiny fraction of a second you have to return a blistering serve?
Well, it happens through this lightning-fast loop. First, the player's eyes scan the opponent, looking for tiny clues in their posture, the angle of their hips, how their shoulder turns, the height of the ball toss. Instantly, their brain anticipates where the ball's probably going and what kind of spin it'll have. Next, it decides on the best possible return. And finally, it sends the signal to the body to make it happen. And the crazy part? This all happens almost without them even thinking about it. I mean, just look at these numbers. A player has about 700 milliseconds, that's less than 3/4 of a second, from the moment the ball bounces on their side to the moment they have to hit it back. In that tiny, tiny window, that whole process of seeing, predicting, and deciding has to take place. There's absolutely no time for slow, careful thought. It has to be automatic, driven by a super efficient, flexible mind. And this is exactly why the top players look like they can see the future. They aren't just reacting to the ball after it's been hit. No, they've trained their brains to read the story their opponent's body is telling them before contact, giving them a massive head start on every single shot. And this skill doesn't just work for one-off shots. Cognitive flexibility is what lets a player adjust their entire strategy over the course of a long, grueling match. Think about it. A player just can't use the same game plan on the lightning-fast hard courts of the US Open, where rallies are super short and aggressive, as they do on the slow, grinding clay of the French Open, where points can turn into these epic battles. Sticking to one rigid plan is a recipe for losing.
So, what do the great ones do? How do they pivot when Plan A starts to fall apart? Well, they use that cognitive flexibility to make all these little tactical adjustments. You'll see them start hitting slower balls with more height just to break an opponent's rhythm. They might switch from hitting with heavy topspin to using a slice backhand. They might creep up to the baseline to play more aggressively, or suddenly start throwing in drop shots if their opponent is hanging way back. They're constantly testing, probing, and adapting their game.
Now, here's maybe the most important part of all this. This isn't some kind of magic talent that you're either born with or you're not. Just like you can train your serve or your backhand, cognitive flexibility is a skill that can be developed and sharpened. So instead of just hitting hundreds of the same forehand over and over, modern training uses tons of variety.
Drills for the ball comes from all different places, at different speeds, forcing the brain to constantly adjust. Athletes use video simulations, kind of like video games, to get better at reading an opponent's body language. They'll practice specific high-pressure situations, like playing tiebreaker after tiebreaker. Even things like mindfulness can help them stay focused, quiet down all that mental noise, and stop themselves from making silly mistakes when it matters most.
At the end of the day, having a perfect forehand is great, but it's not going to do you much good if you keep hitting it right where your opponent wants it. The real power, the ultimate advantage, is a mind that can look at any situation, figure out what's not working, and instantly find a new way to win.
And that leaves us with a pretty cool question to think about. As we keep pushing the physical limits of what humans can do, is the next great frontier in sports not in our muscles, but in our minds? Are we heading into an era where the fastest thinker is actually the best athlete? It's definitely something to chew on.